the U.S. men's national team are slowly getting to the groove of things. This is such an important win, a huge win for the U.S., especially for me. I think they were by far the better team in a way. Um, at U.S. They need results. They beat Japan, they beat what was it, Australia, they beat Paraguay. You need things like this. And the next game is against Uruguay. This is good for the camp. This is good for the national team. They have a bunch of injuries, yet they're slowly getting, getting these wins, getting against these basically World Cup opponents that who knows who you could face. Maybe Paraguay will be in your group, in Australia, Japan, whatever. So it's really important that the national team is getting these results. And like I said before, with so many injuries affecting the squad, no Pulisic, no Tillman, no, I'm not forgetting someone. Pepe has been hurt, Des has been hurt, and they finally got in. Um, Zendaya's, I know I'm missing probably a couple. Johnny Cordorso, such high key named star players for the men's national team. Yeah, and they have to use their bench, use the players that they have. They have, and for me, they looked pretty solid here with the starting 11. What they have, Matt Freeze. For me, I've never been a huge fan of Matt Freeze. He's probably your only option, but I just wish Barca was using the youngster that they have, the American. I always forget his name, Kosher or something like that. Um, he's highly rated in the youth level, and he deserves a chance. I wish he was called up for I think it was the U20 Men's World Cup, and he was in the list and all that. But then Joan Garcia got hurt, and Barcelona called him back, so we couldn't really see what he did. Probably the U.S. would have went far because the reason they lost against Morocco was the goalkeeping. So who knows? Maybe they would have had a better result. Maybe U.S. would have went more farther in the U20 World Cup if they had him in goal. But just bringing it back, the reason he didn't play is because Barca kept him, and I want to see him grow. He's still young, obviously. Will he get called in the World Cup? He needs to go out alone, get some playing time, just to be a backup. Or who knows, maybe he performs good in loan, then he could possibly get a start. It's really not likely because it's a World Cup. You need the experience. You need people to actually playing. So Matt Freeze, Arfston. I always looked at him for years. Where was he playing Columbus before? Yep, it's still in Columbus. I've always tracked him. For me, he's a great backup option for Anthony Robinson. Of course, Anthony Robinson is going to be that your star, one of the best players in the Premier League really last season. And now that knee issue, hopefully it's not long term, really hopefully, because I want the best of the best playing, because I think the U.S. is actually capable of going far in the World Cup. For me, a quarterfinal, I think with the players, if they're all playing in their part and, really into the best formation and the best team that you can put out, I think the U.S. can go far. But Arvidsson, for me, had a good match, great assist. Probably just he's a defense liability, but besides that, I think in attack he's well, wins the ball back. I think he had a good match. Tim Ream, I've never been a fan of Tim Ream. I feel like in the World Cup he's gonna get crushed. He's gonna get crushed in the World Cup. But they still bring him on. They still put him in. I don't know why they don't put a McKenzie or something. The same with Robinson. I was never a fan of that dual partnership. I've never really liked Ream and Robinson. And then there's Scally, of course, in defense with. And then have a crazy match, but it was his first call up. I'm surprised he got called up with him not being called up for who knows how long in the U.S. men's national team. Him and Podge had a debacle, whatever. So he's finally got a start. Probably didn't play him in the right system that he should have been, but finally gets one. Des coming back into the squad after a huge injury. Really nice to see him and Pepe back in the starting line with the two PSV guys. Such a key important player in the World Cup. They need someone like him. Going to 2026. Tesman, huge fan of him. Leon looking great today. Solid game from Tesman. So Rodon didn't have the greatest match. Who knows if he'll get called up for the World Cup? I know because there's like Gio. Only reason he got called up was because of all the injuries. If it wasn't the case, he probably wouldn't have scored. I mean, he obviously wouldn't have scored. He wouldn't have got a selection, and who knows? Probably would have not probably would not have a chance to go to the World Cup. I've always backed up Gio Reyna, especially in Dortmund when he was having that fall off era. I was like, every time Gio steps onto the pitch, it's similar for me, similar to like a Garnacho. Gets the hate, doesn't get the chances, but when they get subbed in, I see it. I see the potential. I see they bag an assist or play decent, and then but just doesn't start. That's for me similar to like a Garnacho and Borussia Mönchengladbach not even playing, which is a shame because I think he still got it. And today for me, he should have been man of the match. He 100% had it in him. Always been a huge fan of Gio Reyna, especially that Dortmund team. With Jude and Holland. Like I fully believe that he would be the next face, next with Pulisic, the face of the UN's men's national team. And there's still a chance. He's still young. This is great for him. Hopefully, he starts against Uruguay. And then for me, Balogun. For me, he needs to get, who's gonna be your number 9 coming to the World Cup? Is it Balogun? Is it Pepe? Is it Wright? Is it who are you gonna have up there? For me, Balogun has always been the face of the up top, like striker in a way because of how much money he was bought for from Monaco. Especially with that huge season in that he had in Lille. Was it Lille? Yeah, I'm positive it was Lille. But it's important that one of the strikers are getting goals. Pepe missed a huge chance coming to the game, but you need a striker that's bagging in goals. So happy to see Bellingham score. So I don't know how he got man of the match, but and then Brendan Aronson, for me, he was just there. Wasn't the best. Wasn't terrible, but in a way, I want him to get into the real things. For me, it's similar to like a Gio Reyna. I want them to perform, to be there. And then the bench with Alex Freeman, got minutes, Diego Luna, Ada Morris, Timothy Tillman, Ricardo Pepi, and Sebastian Berhalter. Pepi missed an open. You still have to score that, even with the touch. He 100% could have scored from there. And then for Paraguay, I don't know much. I know Enciso from when he was in Brighton. Now it's Starsberg, and then RC who got the goal from a cross by Almiron from in the first half, which ended 1-1. And then towards the end, Balogun being able to bag the second goal for the U.S. and win, which is important coming for the U.S. here. I think they played in Pennsylvania, the stadium of the Philadelphia Unions. Oh wait, what? Pennsylvania, Philly. I was positive that they played in Philly. And one thing here, the squad is not fully filled. Of course, they had a bunch of injuries. How many of these go to the World Cup? For me, I think the U.S. is actually, I won't say strong, but they have options for like in the bench. Bringing the players as I mentioned that are injured. You still have good for me like rotation wise. A Balogun for a Pepe. I do like a Berhalter. You still have McKennie, Tesman, Johnny Cardoso if he's fit. Up top with I don't know, I forgot his name. I forgot his name. Who played right wing for America. But you have so much depth. Pulisic also, but I think the one thing that lacks is maybe the defensively. I think their attack on paper looks good, and that slowly they get into the rhythm with Poch. But for me, they looked better with the having three in the back, and then having the wing backs with like Dest and whoever's gonna play in the left there. It's just the options for the back is just give McKenzie a shot. I think you 100% should. I don't know why he didn't play. Give McKenzie. I don't know if Vickers is injured or anything, but I think because Tim Ream, like I said in the World Cup, I don't think he's gonna. I think he would just be exposed really coming to the World Cup. Slow, old. Maybe you can have him in the team for the motivation, the experience. He's played for a long time, and recent of course in this past couple of years for the men's national team. But we'll see with that. Their next match, like I said, is going to be against Uruguay, which is huge. If they can pull off a result here, a tie, a 1-0 win, something, because Uruguay going to the World Cup, this FIFA rankings don't matter. These don't matter. They're not. Uruguay on paper have a better team in general than USA and are playing tougher teams in the qualifying stages. And of course, you have US who already qualified, so they've just been playing friendlies. But these last 4 games look good. South Korea, they looked better in the second half, using the 3 in the back, And then Japan, huge win. I didn't expect this. A huge win against Japan. Japan are a good team. Ecuador, which have Casiedo, one of the best midfielders in the world, and Ecuador getting up there in the standings of how good they can be with the young talent that they have. Australia, they're a World Cup opponent team. You need to verse teams like this, and it's just good for morale, it's good for results, it's good for the players. And then against Paraguay, a team from the South American qualifiers that have qualified for the World Cup. So it's good like that. Now it's Uruguay, one of the biggest opponents, not favorites for the World Cup, but 100% knockout stage opponents that they're gonna go against. So this is huge. I know Fede Valverde is out. I know Darwin Nunez is not gonna play. When was this friendly? Was this recent? October 13th. Yeah. So check their lineup here. Am I tripping? Okay. So yeah, they're not having crazy star named players going to the system. Doors is still hurt. This discomfort. Where did they place in the World Cup qualifiers? They placed fourth, above Brazil. And of course their last 5 matches, only 2 wins out of the 5, which is, I think U.S. can have a chance. I fully think they're slowly getting to the rhythm of Poch, and I'ma say another 2-1 win, back to back 2-1 wins. Just gotta get rid of things. I just want to see a game with all the best players starting, best players on the bench that they can have, and fully see if they can go far going into this World Cup.